OK. 3 million fewer jobs, according to Cambridge Econometrics. 32% lower investment, 5% lower exports, 16% lower imports, £311 billion worse off by 2035 because we've left the EU.
And it's just complete nonsense. I mean, this is twaddled by Remoaner institutions that just can't accept the fact that we've left. And actually, we've now got great opportunities and we should grab them and thrive them. The issue with Brexit is that the Tories utterly failed, having taken us rightly out of the EU, to take advantage of it, to do the things that they promised. Control immigration, get rid of daft EU laws, lower taxes, and that's how you grow an economy. You can't tax your way out of a crisis.
So we don't need experts, as somebody famous once said, is what you're suggesting there. Let me just quote Bloomberg to you, though. Found that Brexit is costing the UK economy £100 billion a year.
Again, I mean, this is the same Bloomberg that told us that we shouldn't leave the EU. Of course they're going to do that. But all the city... Do you remember when the city said that we were going to...
making it up, are they?
I'm afraid to say, actually, bluntly, they are.
So you're suggesting that Bloomberg are making up those
garbage.
figures?
I just come back to the simple fact.
You're saying that Cambridge Econometrics are making up those numbers?
It's garbage.
What about the Centre for Economic Performance?
It's complete garbage. What they're not focusing on is Germany. Germany is in deep recession, and we need to do as much as we can to get away from that, not drag ourselves nearer. The last thing we should be doing is tying ourselves to ever more net zero EU carbon policies that add costs to our businesses. We need to scrap net zero to get lower costs, to reduce bills, reduce the cost of living. That's what ordinary people in my constituency want us to do.
And how do you feel about an EU youth mobility scheme?
It's a terrible idea because it's just freedom of movement via the back door. We need to freeze immigration, net zero immigration, so that actually we start... Our public services cannot cope with the size of the population as it is. The last thing we need is millions more people coming to the UK would actually deteriorate our public services, our struggling health system, our overburdened housing market, and more besides.
Your views on Trump's tariffs on Canada, Mexico and China?
Look, Trump is a businessman that is always out, he's always negotiating, and he's very concerned, quite rightly, about the huge influence of mass immigration, of the drugs, of fentanyl. You know, these are serious things, and let's see where it goes. But the joy of being outside the EU is that actually I think we've got a good chance of having a much better trading relationship with the US, looking at a part.
Richard Tice made quite a statement when he appeared on the Kay Burley Show. I can't stand Kay Burley, by the way, to discuss Brexit. The journalist cited not one, but two expert sources to highlight some of the major problems that the UK is facing as a result of leaving the European Union. Tice, a member of Reform UK, didn't receive much pushback from Burley and instead fell back on blaming the Tories for not fully capitalising on the so-called benefits of Brexit. Tice dismissed the evidence presented, which showed that the UK being £311 billion worse off by 2035, with 3 million fewer jobs, 32% lower investment and 5% lower exports. He labelled the data as nonsense and accused these experts of being Remoaners. But what's missing here is a proper counter-argument. Tice didn't provide any solid evidence of his own to support his claims. He just said the experts were wrong and didn't explain any fucking reason why. The journalist's job in this situation should have been to challenge Tice's statements and ask him to fully explain why the experts' data is wrong, which he didn't, and he didn't. If Tice believes that Brexit has been successful, tell us. Then he should present his own data to prove it, but instead he resorted to discrediting the sources without providing any evidence of his own. The real issue with Brexit, as pointed out by Tice, is that the Tories have failed to take full advantage of the opportunities that Brexit supposedly offered. Tice argues that the economy is struggling not because of Brexit itself, but because the Tories haven't made the most of what they promised. However, if Brexit were truly the success that Tice suggests, then the economy should be booming, should it not? Not struggling. You can't argue both sides at the same time. Tice then brought up Bloomberg's report stating that Brexit is costing the UK £100 billion a year. Tice dismissed this as more anti-Brexit rhetoric, claiming Bloomberg is pushing an agenda but failed to offer any concrete evidence to back his position. The issue here is that Tice, like many in the Brexit camp, failed to present any data to refute the expert claims, instead of relying on personal attacks. The claims that the economy has been damaged by Brexit are based on hard data, but Tice didn't provide any counterpoints. He just called the experts Remoaners and blamed others for the situation. It's important that journalists like Kay Burley challenge these claims and ask tough questions when people like Tice say the experts are wrong. Why are they wrong? They need to demand evidence to support these claims, and if there's no evidence, it should be called out. Richard Tice's bullshit should be called out. But let me know what you think. I've been Jake from Just Jake. As always, subscribe to the channel, feel free to buy me a coffee, and follow the Facebook page. You actually made it to the end of the video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, which, why haven't you already, is somewhere over there. And also, if you want to watch more videos, also check out over there. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you later.